Welcome to the Real Estate Show. From buying to selling and everything in between. Rochester's home for everything real estate. And now, your hosts from the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. It's Anthony Butera and Jason Mancuso.
Welcome to episode 31 of the Real Estate Show. Got Anthony and Jason here.
Hey guys.
And coming off of the big Bills win over the weekend. Well, you've had a whole week of hearing about it, right?
Yeah. It's actually worked out because it was quick to turn off.
Yeah, it wasn't. I would prefer it that way. It was
get it over with.
Well, no, just the way the game went down. Like, it was evident very early on how it was going to end. So it wasn't like they dragged my emotions through 4 quarters. So went and met my buddies at the same bar we've been watching the away games at for years, and it was really just. I think the amount of drinks that would have gotten consumed in 4 quarters were consumed in 1.
Yeah,
because it was like straight not excitement but depression mode.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, might as well get a buzz.
On with the day.
Yeah, the bar's getting interesting too. There was got the designation for the official Bills backers bar, and
Of what? Of Rochester?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, Panorama. Shout out to Panorama.
Shout out to
So they show no other games other than
That's it?
the Bills games. They won't.
Really?
They don't show any other games.
Do they have the ticket? The NFL
So
ticket?
here's the kicker. So talking to the owner, she saves $600 every Sunday because that's what the cost was for the ticket. Now, she's probably going to, looking at the bar, I would say the attendance is down like 25%. But is that 25%? Like, listen, this isn't your high-end, like, sports bar by any means. So, like, I would say the 25% that they're losing, I've seen them. They're not spending they're not going to profit $600 from that group by any means.
Yeah.
They go there, they bring their kids because that's like that's their weekend with the kids, and you do not want to bring your kids here.
What are you talking about?
I shouldn't say that.
We go there every Sunday. For
well, you go there for breakfast,
kids,
so but it's half bar.
No, it's great.
It's half diner.
It's actually just a great setup because they have an excellent diner and then a bar.
There's
a dive bar, right?
There's a cool story behind it I won't talk about because I said the name, but that's been our spot literally since I was like 16 years old.
So I didn't know that though. They got the official designation near the place.
If you
they should be able to pocket pretty good when the away games.
It was a huge Browns bar for years, and it was like there was more Browns fans than Bills fans, and they couldn't stand us because they would play the audio for the Bills game because the owner who he's passed, but the original owner, who was the father of the daughter that owns it now, he was a big Bills fan. Greek guy, diner, restaurant, bar. Stash is his name, and he was a big Bills fan, and he had his buddies that would come. So like the Browns fans, I don't know why they were going there. Like, go to a bar that'll play your audio, or stay at home. You're a Browns fan.
Why even bother?
It's the one team as a Bills fan that I could. That's the only team I can make fun of as a Bills fan. Really?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the only team I think we've achieved.
Feel bad for them just because they do have a great local presence. I mean, back in the day,
ton of local presence.
That was the team, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're on the ups, maybe.
Listen, props to any Bills fans, Lions fans. I think it's great that they're still committed, like me.
Well, hey, bookmark this episode 31, the Josh Allen era.
Yeah, this is what it starts.
It's official.
Straight to the Super Bowl.
You know what? I love it. I don't even care if he takes his thumps and the season's a wash. He's going to learn more.
Yeah, I think you got to.
Throw
him in there.
Yeah. Throw him in there. Get used to it. Jump in.
Yeah, he's a big kid. He'll get hammered, but should be able to handle it.
No, there'll be a major injury for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Who is that guy? Maybe it was a couple seasons ago. that like his leg broke, RG3
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
That is one of those things I can't get that image out of my head.
There was one on Sunday. What was his name? Guy on the Titans.
I
had
hate
one.
when they show it in slow motion. It makes it that much
Yeah.
worse. Listen, nothing will be worse than
the basketball.
Louisville. The Louisville.
Oh yeah.
They won the national championship that year. That was, and I was watching that game, and I go, wait a second. Did I just see what I think I saw? And I rewound it.
Oh no!
And just watching his
bone go back in when you were around
yes, and like the bottom portion of his like leg flap up, and like Patino, he was sick. He was like, you could tell he was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how you feel better. We'll cover this. This didn't
Yeah.
happen.
Put a towel over it.
But it's
That'll cure
amazing
everything.
that like the recovery from something that what aesthetically appears as catastrophic is like way quicker. Kevin Ward was his name.
Yeah.
He came back next season, no issues. But then like ACLs are so tough to rebound from, or you know what I mean. So
Well, they're all slowly getting Swiss cheese brain, so
was
they're all
just-
getting injured slowly,
Yeah.
anyways. You know.
I was just gonna say that it's like it's amazing how those guys like you snap your ankle in half and they're not rolling around like just crying like you'd think I would be, right?
I think honestly like the shock brings
Well, that's what it
adrenaline
is. So,
and
quick story. About 10 years ago, I was playing in a softball game,
crepe.
and I was playing first base. Hefty left-handed batter came, so being first, the ball would come at you, coming in hot. So he hit a line right at me, and I did one of these. I'm right-handed, it's my glove, and I didn't get my finger out of the way soon enough. You can't see, but it snapped my finger straight off, and it was dangling.
Yeah.
And it didn't really hurt.
Really?
I mean,
That's shocking because that's all your
it was the
means.
shock. I didn't catch the ball, so I dropped it, picked it up, ran to the base, got the out, and then ran straight off the field. Like, need to go to the hospital.
Well, then that just proves that I'm a bitch because when I was doing construction before real estate, it'd be tough to explain, but there was a machine that you would run the sheet metal through, and it was a beater. And
I don't want to.
well, I was wearing gloves, and you would make couplings, picture round metal couplings to put round ductwork together. It connects the pieces, and you screw the ductwork pipe. So the power beater, you put the rounded piece of metal, like picture just around 4 inches wide, and it provides a bead in the middle to where the connections can meet. And glove gets caught and runs my finger through the beater. Now, to me, that pain, and I've had some serious injuries. I was always getting hurt.
Yeah.
That was the only pain that put me, like, I fell.
Yeah.
The pain was like that, like,
Yeah.
it was super painful.
your
And it was
finger.
from the nerve. And you get to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, there's nothing, my finger is mashed potatoes.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, they put it in iodine and sent me home. There was nothing that they could even do. They said just, we don't know how it's going to grow back, but you can't tell anything now. It grew back fine. It took a long time, but that was pain.
Yeah.
But then other injuries that you would have assumed that would be painful, like no pain.
Why were you always getting injured?
It's just a clots.
Okay.
I had just a clots. I always got in. It's like I fell off a ladder on a flight of stairs and smashed my knee, shattered it, and like that pain was. It was like you knew something was wrong, but the pain level wasn't extreme.
Well, I think that's part of it. It's like the event leads to the shock.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I just fell off a ladder. This isn't good.
Yeah.
Then you kind of got the shock and adrenaline factor.
And like on construction sites too, to get sympathy from these Neanderthals
Yeah.
is non-existent. I literally, because I knew nobody was going to care. Like literally, if I called help for somebody, they would have instantly said, "Get up,
It
get up,
made
you
it
little
worse.
bitch." So I let a few people know that I was hurt, and I dragged my right leg to my car, and I drove myself to Stroud.
Oh my God.
Because if I even called an ambulance and made a scene, I would have been like the laughing stock forever.
Yeah. That's funny.
Can I bring real estate into this conversation?
No,
It's so boring.
Because we got the hurricane that's gonna hit the Carolinas, right? Carolinas and Georgia. That's what they're saying now.
I heard. Is it like?
I
thought it was going south.
I think it's going to hammer both the Carolinas. So did they say today it's heading south now?
A little bit, because Georgia's south of it. So they're
My
saying,
brother's in North Carolina, and from what they're saying, it's going to now. It's again, they think they're safe. They're in North Carolina, so I mean, they're going to feel the effects, just not what it was originally.
Well, the problem is that they're going to have like deeper into Carolina. It's just the rain, and hopefully there's no flooding. But
well, they said the reason this is going to be so bad is because so many people have moved there. The population has gone up, so I'm blaming the real estate agents for selling property in the Carolinas.
Maybe this is just the lesson, right? Move back to what was the worst thing that happened when you were in Rochester? The ice storm of '91, right?
Yeah.
So we deal with a lot of little stuff.
I say that all the time. I take it here. I mean, hurricanes. I mean, a freaking tornado rolling through town. Just leveling everything in sight.
Ripping everything apart.
We're never gonna have that. Very little severe weather other than snow.
Snow
Big
and
deal.
just very, very cold tundra. Like weather.
I don't know. I take that over severe, massive damage. Just
listen, I'm with
you're
you.
boarding up your house.
Yeah, you
Imagine
can buy
that
an extra
feeling.
jacket. You
But I
can't-
guess those are. I mean, that's like once in a lifetime.
I don't
things.
know.
I don't
it's
know, man.
becoming more and more every year.
last year with what was Hurricane ripped up Houston, Texas. We were down there.
Harvey,
Harvey, I think it
Was
was.
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
Hurricane
yeah,
Harvey.
Puerto Rico.
So
What was
Houston was destroyed, and literally it was like 20 years to the date. It happened again, and they rebuilt again, and it's going to happen again.
Right.
So we wonder why our insurance rates are what they are. It's crazy. So to live in those areas, you just have to, like California, great, beautiful. What's the catch? Earthquake at any time. Florida, beautiful.
Fire.
What's the catch? Hurricanes, right?
Meth heads,
Trailer, ton of trailer parks.
Old people.
Yeah.
lot of
So
trade-offs
real
in
estate
Florida.
related, I mean, if you're in this path, tee up your insurance. Take pictures of everything, I'm told, before. So you have clear snapshot of what what you got, what your
The problem
insurance
in
claim
Puerto
is going to
Rico,
be.
a lot of people are getting like pennies on the dollar
Yeah.
from the insurance, when they got hit.
Yeah, it's tragic.
That's a conversation. Insurance is insurance. It's like you can take the cheap route, and when you need it, you're probably going to get screwed.
Yeah.
You pay super expensive policy, and if you don't need it, then
Is
it's
that
like,
done on
why
a state
did
level?
I pay?
Like, I'm sure there's got to be a minimum. Do the states set out the minimum of how much insurance you need or get? Or like, I know because some states you have to get flood insurance or some areas, right? And
Well, even here, if you're in a flood zone,
Yeah,
You have to
so
get it,
flood
okay.
insurance is dictated by FEMA. So they
so it's
just
federal.
they
Okay.
just have a map,
Yes.
and if you fall into
You
the
gotta get it.
boundaries of that, then you have to get it if you have a mortgage.
Okay.
If you own a property free and clear, you buy it cash, then that's on you.
Sure.
But with that said, you don't have a mortgage, flood damage,
Right.
you're not covered.
Yeah, exactly. That's just it. That's a conversation on insurance. You want to
Yeah.
be covered. You want to have a great policy and be covered, and have it be a good thing.
Yeah.
Not that it's a good thing if you have to use it, but just, you rebound pretty quickly and all your belongings are, you're able to rebuild and not really take a hit. Or do you roll the dice and
And it took
gonna go cheap and
it
then-
took Katrina to
Yeah.
get FEMA. I mean, they redid their
yeah,
maps
everything
after-
changed after that.
Yeah.
So the problem here locally is like, when you're in, there's areas of Gates, for example, that are in the flood zone. It's like, okay, there's a creek nearby, and
Right.
when it's never flooded.
Never been
right?
flooded, bone dry.
Yeah. So then now you got to pay. It's not cheap. It can be $50-$100 extra a month.
I'll be honest.
easy.
I was with the windstorm we had a couple years ago, where I had to get a roof redone and siding redone, all that stuff. I'm not going to give like the name of the insurance I use, but like I was like impressed by how covered we were and
Yeah.
like how fast it was.
You
and
don't
it
want to
was-
give a name about how good they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, no, I don't want to give good. They got to pay for that.
I've listened to you. I've listened to you call out priests like negatively by their full names, but you won't say the name of a good insurance company.
No, not gonna happen.
right.
As Liberty
Mark
Mutual,
Myra, folks.
but like
Okay.
it was stuff like our roof got damaged, and obviously it takes some time. They tarped it, and we tarped
Yeah.
it, and obviously it takes some time to get the project going. And then ceilings got damaged,
Yep.
and they were just like, "Oh yeah, we'll cover that too."
Yeah,
Well,
No
yeah,
big deal.
anything that was caused
Yeah,
by
it
it's good.
I'm just so used to things not working.
Let me ask
You
you.
know?
Let me ask you this, Mark. Now that I've gotten to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
No insurance coverage. What are the chances there's still a tarp on your roof?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
One.
oof. Right now? 2 years later?
It's
No,
probably
no,
a
we
roof.
would-
Okay.
Yeah, we would have fixed it.
All right.
I mean, at the
6
very
months.
least, my parents would have been like, I would have kept it there for like 4 months. They'd been like, okay, enough.
Your parents would have been like, "You're embarrassing
yeah.
the family."
Yeah, like we're gonna take care of your roof, bud. Something like that.
That's
Yeah.
horrible. That's what's went back to the weather. It's like, all right, we have a 1 in a million year, windstorm that knocks out power and does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That day, I'll never forget. I rear-ended somebody in my wife's car. Ended up being my buddy from high school, his mom,
Oh, I remember that.
and then
You were
as soon as as soon as I got home, 5 minutes later, we lose power for 3 days.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was almost a week. With
Yeah,
no
we
power.
lost 3 fish that windstorm. We forgot to bring them, and they just froze.
First world problems.
Never forget.
So what do we want to talk about?
Yeah, let's just shoot the breeze.
Real estate wise.
We were thinking just because we run into interesting situations all the time. When we're out, meeting with people and just what if you're not meeting with us, what should you be asking an agent?
Yeah.
As a buyer or seller, really. So we want to kind of get into that just to provide some direction, just so that you can properly, interview and vet somebody that you're looking to work with. Make sure that you're going to be in good hands.
Yeah, the right questions. Because this is something, again, real estate, it's not something people do every year. So
Right.
the process is, it's unknown for most people.
Right.
So unless they're asking around and asking for referrals from friends and family, and they don't know, how do you go about it? I think a lot of people start online and,
Yeah.
right, like anything else. You're questioning something, you're Googling something, and next thing you know,
But yeah, I mean, it's just like the concept is that this is a huge deal, investment. There's a lot of things at stake, not just money for your house or whatever it may be, however you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of emotions involved. It's a tedious process and one that you don't want to just necessarily Uncle Jimmy's son just got licensed and we're going to give him a shot at our $500,000 house.
sure. Yeah, I think, experience, I think it does, it counts. With that being said, doesn't mean that agent couldn't do a good job. Hopefully they're smart enough to maybe bring another agent on the deal with them that has the experience,
Yeah.
the clout, and can make sure that the transaction goes smooth, especially seeing as it's a family member. You're going to want to make sure you're taking great care of them like you would anybody. But if you botch a real estate deal in the family, you'll never live that down.
Right.
So, yeah, to me, the questions really should be, what's your plan on how to sell my house, and how did you come about the value? Because that's always a tough conversation too, right? When it's your home, you always think it's worth more than it really is. Just like you think your daughter is prettier than she really is, right? She's beautiful inside.
She might not even be beautiful inside.
Inside,
You know?
yeah,
She might
I've
be a
seen
garbage person.
Yeah, I've seen the insides of people. It's gross.
I've seen ugly garbage people.
Yeah.
So you could be both.
Yeah, exactly. But it's emotional, right? So having those conversations is super emotional. So you need to me, I think a good agent can bring the right amount of emotions into the deal, but then inevitably make decisions or lead you in the right directions with facts,
Yeah.
right? I get it. You raise the kids here. This is there's a ton of pride in this home. With that being said, we have to look away from that for a minute.
Yeah.
And here is what your neighborhood is doing.
Well, and really that's kind of the point in a way, is that, yes, you have a big emotional play involved, and you're selling your home that you raised your family in a lot of cases, but you got to kind of step back and be neutral.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this as just, that's the mistake that a lot of people make, is that it's just totally all emotion, and they have zero, business sense to the transaction that they're about to get into. If it's me and it's my home, and it's tough to say, but if I weren't in this business, I would be looking at it from, okay, how are we going to get from point A to point B, which point B should be, I want the most money in my pocket when it's all said and done, and done in an efficient manner.
How can you get me the most amount of money based on what my house is worth? Right? Because I catch a ton of, well, listen, we need to sell the house for this much.
Right, yeah.
Because we need this much money to do what we want to do and cash out and to put towards the next house. Now, you got to understand, I can appreciate your situation and the money that you need, but that has no bearing on what your home is worth. And it's amazing that you have to, reinforce that message, because, that's pretty logical that, the value of your home has no bearing on what you guys need to do. And I get it. You don't have to sell. And that's fine. I don't have to list your home because, we talk about it all the time. We're not going to just take on a listing to take on a listing.
Right.
We put way too much effort into selling our listings with the money we spend on marketing, the boost on social media.
There's a lot of resources.
Oh, my God. This, the signage, the inputting information, the time in front of you from the first appointment to, the consultation of here's what we need to do, here's how we have to get the house ready.
Right.
Even if the house were a 9, here's what I want it to look like on photo day. We have an in-house photographer. It cost us. I would have to say, you're probably talking from beginning, from first appointment to end. If we really figured out what everybody was worth an hour and what our time is worth, you're $1,000 into a listing very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, back to what to ask about. We're talking kind of the plan around it. So how are you going to sell my home? And as a consumer, if you're meeting with an agent, you got to kind of sniff out a few things. If somebody's walking into your kitchen and sitting down with you and saying, look, you're going to be on every website out there, you're on the MLS, and you'll be seen on the internet, that's just what you get for being a realtor and paying dues and being a member of the board and having MLS access.
Everyone's going to have that.
Anybody can say that. That's the easy part. So you got to kind of sniff out. There's a lot of people that, not to disparage others, but you got to make sure that you're not getting into bed with somebody who's just going to put it on the MLS. It's a 3-piece. Put it on the MLS, put a sign in the yard, and then pray.
That's literally the least you can do.
Yeah.
That's
It's you have to do that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's the bare minimum. And look, a lot of times people will find success with that approach just because of the market that we're in, and there's statistically so few homes available compared to the size of the buying pool, and the problem just takes care of itself.
Yep.
Well, okay, when that doesn't happen in the first week, what's next? So if I'm a consumer, I'm kind of asking specifically that. Look, I get it. The internet is the way of the world, and you have the ability to get it out there where I can't as a consumer, and you're going to hire somebody to put a sign in the yard. Perfect. What else? So, there's really, there's got to be a proactive approach by your agent. One example is, it's just kind of gets down to the pound the pavement approach. Literally, we'll contact neighbors around a listing just to let them know what's going on, introduce ourselves. Say, if you know anybody who wants to move into the neighborhood, please connect them with us.
Yep.
Invite people to open houses when they're being held, stuff of that nature. That gets it out there, and then kind of it spreads from there.
Everybody does want to bring their friends and family into a neighborhood.
Yes.
Bad move, but everybody wants to do it, right?
I'm with you, but it is like, everyone wants to. So if they know of friends that are in the process of looking, hey, house just popped up on my street. So really the neighborhood, what you can achieve within the neighborhood where that listing is super important. And I mean, we just literally just closed on a home on a street, and that sign came down and it went up in the next door neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Right.
They were referred. We did a great job with the neighbors listing, and they told the next door neighbors that, listen, I know you guys are. They were actually on the market. They weren't having much success. Their home was substantially overpriced out of the gate, which was, that's on the agent, because if you're going to take that listing on at that price that made no sense, no history in that neighborhood would ever indicate. As a matter of fact, in that neighborhood, you could have rebuilt the house cheaper than what it was originally listed for. Right? Mm-hmm. So with that said, a lot of agents' approach is, let me just agree with with the sellers, or let me just put a high number out there. I'll get the listing, and then I'll really fight to keep reducing it. Yeah. Well, what happens is when you do that, right, you owned that original number.
Right.
So every time you're hitting them up for a price reduction,
just shows you don't.
It just shows, you at that point you have egg on your face, and those are agents that are looking to do one-time transactions, right? Mm-hmm. So we sold the house next door that was, it's almost an identical twin to the house, same floor plan, square footage, everything, right? And yet they were listed for $30,000 originally, right out the gate, more than what we were listed for. And so when the neighbors saw that, it was like, wait a second. Okay, so that one's sold. Yeah. It's not like it's sold overnight. It took a little while, but we did find a buyer for it. Right. What are we doing here? Yeah. And we get calls, and then you have to redirect the calls and say, listen, you're under contract. You have to talk to your agent. If they'll let you out, then you can contact me at that point, but we really can't have this conversation.
Mm-hmm. And that part of the plan, I mean, the big, one of the bigger things that we have to do as agents is price, and that goes to in large part to statistics, but to take it a step further, it's easy enough for anybody to look up, consumers or realtors both look up, okay, this house sold down the street for this. All right, well, did you see that house?
Yeah.
Do you actually know what it looked like? Pictures are deceiving in both ways. Yeah. I mean, great pictures can make a house look better than it is, and crappy pictures can make kind of hold something back too.
That house had a brand new roof. Yours is 20 years old. That house just had new windows. Yours are original. That one had a high efficient furnace and air conditioning. You have an old furnace and no air conditioning. Right. So it's tough.
And this is where it comes into, I mean, as much as you can work with a realtor who's, experienced in the area that you're in, just because what happens is, especially due to the size of our team and, how we're out there, chances are if we haven't, then another agent on our team has been in that house that we're using as a comparable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're going to know, okay, this was good, this was bad, here's how it matches up to yours. Mm-hmm. Generally from there, along with other data, we can kind of get to a price of where it should sell for. Yeah. The market's very savvy out there. The consumer's very savvy, on the buying end, to know that, in this example that you were just talking about, something's $30,000 overpriced. Guess what's going to happen? Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to even look at it.
Yeah. And and I think a lot of the agents, the mistakes, they're walking into these listings, whether they know they're in competition with other agents for it or not, they are walking in with like their statistics, right? Like this is how many homes I've sold this year. Right. Here's some great reviews that I have. Here's what I have achieved. That's great that you've done that for those people, but they want to know what you're going to do for them, right?
Really needs to be, you have to have a plan laid out for you. I mean, here's what we're doing before we're on the market.
Yeah.
Here's what you have to do to get the house ready. Here's what we're going to do on our end of things. Week 1, Okay, it doesn't sell in week 1. What's the plan week 2? Specifics as to what is actually being done to get your house sold. And if you can't get those answers as a consumer, then you're probably hopping into bed with somebody who's just going with the, let's put it out there and pray method.
Yeah. And when you have to follow up with the pricing and it's something that's less than what they anticipated,
Right.
you have to have that conversation properly. And, you almost have to ask permission, if I can be honest with you guys. And then you follow it up with facts to kind of mitigate the emotion. Right. This isn't just my opinion. It's not me against your house's value. It's what the market can.
Yeah,
it's what the market can bear.
Look, we want nothing more than to sell your house for more than what we're expecting.
Yeah.
So on that end too, I mean, if you are a seller, potential seller, kind of don't take that approach of I need to get this.
Yeah.
That number could be lower than what you're actually going to get.
Right.
So don't go. You need to go into it. I mean, this is where people that we're meeting with, I encourage them to meet with other realtors too.
Sure.
Get multiple opinions. Relatively speaking, things should be relatively in line. There shouldn't be like a
huge change.
Yeah, I mean, different price points. If we're talking $500,000 homes, that's a little different. But generally, in the average price point for the area, there shouldn't be a $50,000 swing from one realtor to the next. Mm-hmm. Talking 5, 10, fine. But I mean, that should dictate. Okay, I've got 3 opinions from different professionals that are pretty highly rated.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can spin it that my home's worth $50,000 more than what they're telling me.
Well,
right?
and I flat out ask them. So when you make your decision on the agent that you're going to go with, is your decision going to be made on the agent that thinks your home is worth the most, or the agent that you think is going to sell your home? Because that's 2 very different people. Mm-hmm. Because the worst enemy of any listing is days on the market.
Yep.
So if you're going to hire based upon that agent's opinion, not facts, if you're going to base it on their opinion because they know what you want to get for the home and not what the market can bear, they're falling into your trap, but that's you falling into your own trap as well. So you have to be very careful. And we could walk into any listing and just say, look we sell more homes than anybody else in the greater Rochester area, in a 5 county surrounding area. So any questions? We could probably find success with that, but that's not how we want relationships to start. We don't talk about that. We want to make sure that we can achieve a goal and a realistic goal. And that's why we ask those questions. What does it look like for you guys to be happy when this deal closes? What does success look like? And when they relay what that looks like, if you think that it's a good match, then you move forward. Yeah. If they're unrealistic, we put too much effort and we spend too much money on our listings to overprice a house and let it sit there. Now, an agent that's going to take a listing on for an obnoxious number that's way higher than what the home is worth, it's probably going to cost them $75, right? Because they may just be doing it on their own. Right. They may have a sign in their garage that they're just going to hammer down in your front yard. So to them, it's just, you know what? Worst case scenario, I don't sell the house, but I pick up some listings. I pick up some leads. Or it's on a main road. I'll take it on. At least my sign will be there. Yeah.
Right,
my family will see that I'm selling something. So you have to be cautious about that, right?
Yeah, no. If you've interviewed multiple people and two of them are telling you not what you want to hear, but the third guy's telling you what you want to hear, and it's totally out of whack.
That should be a red flag.
I mean, that should be a red flag. It's just like, all right, well, I mean, you should want to work with somebody who's going to tell you, hey, look, God bless you if you can get it from somebody else, but I can't take this on. I'd be wasting your time. It's not even about my time. I'd just be wasting your time, and now I'm not creating a client for life is always the goal, because you're just going to be pissed at me when 3 months go by and nobody's seen your house.
But we do have to be cognizant of our time and being purposeful with our time, because those people that you agreed to take on for a price that they wanted, you are going to be getting the phone calls like crazy, right? They're not going to be, those aren't warm and fuzzy phone calls. Hey, checking in, haven't had any showings in 3 weeks. Like, what's going on? Like, those are not happy phone calls.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, just checking in.
Yep.
What do you think we should do from here, right?
Then you drop the bomb. Oh, we should probably reduce $25,000.
Right. What? Yeah, that's a fun conversation.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Early on, my first year in the business, I was taking listings on just to take listings on, because to me it was like I had the time, and I wasn't spending a ton of money on the listings. I didn't have a whole support team. I didn't have a concierge service person. I didn't have an in-house photographer. So now when we look at our listings, we have to make sure that we can achieve the goal for them and for us. And I'm honest with them, and I have to tell them that, listen, by the end of this conversation and by the time we establish pricing, I'm going to have to decide if I'm a right fit for you guys. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're not a right fit. The good news is there's 3,000 real estate agents in the area. I'm just not the one for you guys.
Yeah, and this isn't to disparage the brand new agent who doesn't have a track record,
not at all,
who doesn't have the resources that maybe we do. But that if you're going to work with that agent, just make sure that there's a plan and that there's something clear cut as to how both of you are going to accomplish the goal at the end of the day. Not everything's the same as far as just need to sell the house for the highest number possible.
Yep.
There's a lot of different things that go into it. The agent should be asking you the right questions too, along with you asking them the right questions. So it should be an interview process. And we just want to kind of get some thoughts out there to
It's speed dating is really what it
is.
It is. You're going to acknowledge right there, is this relationship going to work? Right? We're not compatible.
Right.
And if you're not compatible, you're going to make more money cutting the relationship off at that point, because you're not going to invest any more time in it, right? Mm-hmm. So we are very I would say in the last year, we've really been focusing on being most purposeful with our time and focusing on what each of our strengths speak to and concentrating on that, and because those are our money-making activities. Mm-hmm. And it's not just about how we make the most money, but it is about how do we do what we do best and serve our clients the very best we can. And that is by having a director of operations. That's by having a listing specialist. That's by, you know what I mean? So there's a ton that goes into it, although a lot of people, the consumers, could think, wow, big deal. What do you guys really do? You have no idea what goes into each individual listing. There's a ton of stuff that is going on in the background for us.
That's the way if you're working with somebody who's going to give you that service that you deserve, that's the way it should be. Again, the pray method after you just put it out there on the internet, can go terribly wrong.
Yeah, and giving a last name inscribed cutting board at the end doesn't fix that relationship when the house over $30,000 less than you originally took it on for, right? So we're all about creating relationships. It's not about this transaction. It is about satisfying you guys and turning you into an advocate for the Anthony Butera team. So whenever your friend or family or anybody at work asks who we should use, we want you to make sure our name comes out immediately, because we did the right thing for you and we led you down the right path.
Speaking of, I think I got the Anthony Butera team football schedule magnet.
Nice.
So now I'll know.
Yep.
Got that all set up at the house.
Big one.
Yeah.
Big one this year.
Well, if you want to go speed dating, go to anthonybuterateam.com, right?
Yes. You'll be turned off immediately in 10 seconds.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Check out anthonybuterateam.com. We got our real estate show tab there and all that good stuff. All right.
Thanks guys.
Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Show. Find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you're looking to sell or buy, talk to the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. Visit anthonybuterateam.com.